the Gallup Purdue study again. Bobby, how are you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm just great. Happy to keep talking about this. We've got a great subject today to get to delve into.
Yeah, so let me bring everybody up to speed. For the last few weeks, Bobby and I have been talking about the Gallup Purdue study. And what the study's all about is there are six indicators that if your college student does these while they're in college, they're going to have a life of well being.
Mhm.
And the six topics are I had at least one professor in college who made me excited about learning. My professors at college cared about me as a person. I had a mentor who encouraged me to pursue my goals and dreams. Now, those three topics are really around that support that you get in college.
Right.
The next three are about the experiences you have in college. And they are I worked on a project that took a semester or more to complete.
Hmm.
I had an internship or job that allowed me to apply what I was learning in the classroom. And what we're going to talk about today is I was extremely active in extracurricular activities and organizations while attending college.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So, I mean, I think uh, ending up, that this is their last factor makes complete sense because, of course, you need to go find a college professor and a mentor, although nobody ever thinks of it, right? That makes perfect sense. That would key to success. But I don't think anyone directly thinks about extracurricular activities as being key to success. I think they think it's just a fun thing to do that is unrelated, right? But it really is.
Now, it's important because in any time that you are participating with other people and get
Mhm.
involved, yeah, I mean, it's important not only for you as a person, but for you also to acclimate into that community.
Absolutely, for sure. And I think for a large segment of society, they like think about fraternities and sororities being a big deal, but lots of colleges don't even have them, or they're not a big deal. And also, you shouldn't be focusing on just one thing, right? I remember in college that there were people who were completely not involved in anything, and they did not seem very engaged with stuff. And I think they always talked about how they didn't do anything, right? And then there were students who sort of did everything. And certainly the happiest people that I knew were people that were involved in multiple different activities. I think for me, the most important thing is that like, in the past week, I just got a message on LinkedIn from somebody that I was in an organization with, but that was not, one of the fraternal, organizations that connected up with me because they wanted me to tutor their kid or whatever. Right. And then we connected up, we had this great conversation. And so all these friends and acquaintances from random things you did. Like, I mean, I worked in the admissions office and gave tours. That was one of the things I did. All these different things all ended up making friends and acquaintances that still to this day remember me, and we remember each other,
And
20
Bobby,
years later,
the
30
colleges
years later.
the colleges absolutely get this, right?
Yeah.
The minute you walk on campus, even just touring the campus, they're talking about getting involved, getting involved, getting involved. And it's not only an
Hmm.
indicator of having a happy life later, but it's also an indicator of acclimating to that college, enjoying being there. And, the colleges realize those kids that get involved
Hmm.
enjoy their time there. And you brought up fraternities. That's a great way to get involved.
Oh, for
The
sure.
fraternity will grab you, they will, embrace you, and it's all encompassing, right?
Hmm. Right.
But for those kids that don't want to be in a fraternity, which most
Hmm.
aren't, typically what I'm seeing is 30% of kids in a college
Hmm.
is like a high percentage in most
Yeah.
cases. So, but there are so many. It's amazing,
Hmm.
amazing the amount of opportunities there are on a college campus. I'm sure they were there when we were going, but man, when
Right.
you go as a parent and you listen,
Hmm.
I was blown away.
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing that's right, like fascinating to me is that, like, yeah, you don't realize how much this affects your actual performance in school. And it was something we talked about in the earlier segments about, like having an internship, having a job, having something you're doing during school, like working 15 hours a week or something like that actually improves your performance in school. Whereas a lot of parents, you might naturally think, oh, it'll benefit my student if they don't have to work, right? But doing some work actually improves your performance, just as being involved in some extracurriculars will improve your performance in school, because you're already going to be on campus. It's going to be easier to get to your classes because you've got somewhere to go after. You're already over there. Also, there are more people that you know and that you're saying hi to as you're, going around during the day, and it just gets you more and more engaged. And this also relates to your college admissions process, right? Because part of when you write your essays for college, they're looking for, since they know that students who are involved in on-campus activities are more likely to graduate and more likely to have good grades, the college specifically wants to know that you're going to be in some extracurriculars. So it's very easy when you're applying to go and look and see what are the activities, what are the different organizations on campus, and mention one of them and say how you're excited to join it. If you put that in your essay, that's going to improve your chances of being accepted. It's that simple, right?
Yeah, I love it. And I think too, as parents, really facilitating that. And when
Mhm.
you're doing your college tours, I love that you brought
Right.
up your essay, because it does show them that you're interested in that college, right? That you've
Mhm.
done the homework, that you've looked into the extracurriculars. But asking those questions when you do your college tours, what
Mhm.
are the extracurriculars? I know they will tell you anyway, but you still ask, because, you
Yeah.
think about this, Bobby, college is where you find your people. And
Mhm.
you have to put yourself out there to find your people. And
Mhm.
if that means it's the chess club, if that means it's the weekend camping trips,
Mhm.
I saw different places where they had horseback riding. I mean, you name it, they've got it. It's
Wow.
just crazy and so much fun, even to try new things.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of the funny things. Like when when I have students who are applying to colleges, one of the things I often do is have them look through, the list of all the colleges that are, well regarded in the United States, and pick out one that it never occurred to them to think about, right? One that's very different from the three colleges that everyone they know is going to, and then go read about it. And so you find these things out. And also, like, you can find these, like Princeton Review puts out these weird lists, like colleges where they have the best food, and colleges with the best outdoor activities, and colleges where, everybody studies, but colleges where everybody's in the gym, and colleges where everybody's liberal, and colleges where everybody's another way, right? And so, same thing with extracurriculars. If you go and look at the full list, you're going to see something and say, okay, that sounds almost like a joke, like the movie watching club or whatever. And you're like, well, yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to once a week go and to watch some crazy movie with people or whatever it is, right? And you're going to meet people that are completely different, because when you're walking around campus, you're not going to stop someone and say, hey, are you into, weird not movies from the 90s, right? You're not going to ask somebody that. But then you find that out in the organization, then suddenly you become friends with somebody over a thing that it would not have occurred to you to sit down in the, cafeteria and ask or whatever.
Absolutely. And as you know, sometimes you're going to a college that you don't know anybody, or you don't have any
Right.
close friends that are going, and to be able to walk into a group that is welcoming and, wants you there, that is huge just for your immediate happiness as well. So,
Right. You've immediately got something in common with those people and you can talk to them about it. But see, also this, I think the flip side, a lot of people will be going to college where there are 20 people from their high school there
mhm.
or more. And in that case, it's also really important that you not just hang out with those 20 people all the time. And the easy way to diversify that is to just go join a couple activities that you're interested in. And the thing is, it's not like because you join, you're like obligated to do it all 4 years, right? Just go join a few things and see what you like. That's part of what this is about. What you do, is helping students discover their strengths and what their passions are. Well, that's another way to do it. That's why this is part of, the Gallup strengths, Gallup study, is that they're understanding how these are all ways that you discover your passions, doing a full semester long project, but also being part of an organization, that reflects your interests, right?
Absolutely, because and to your point, Gallup and the, Clifton Strengths program is all about understanding who you are and what makes you happy and energizes you, And
Mhm.
yeah, I love that they do these types of studies. Of course, Gallup is a world-renowned research firm, so
Sure.
it's very natural for them to get involved in these types of studies, and they're asked by lots of organizations, to help them with research studies. But I love this one in particular because it so ties with this age group, and it just
Mhm.
is really interesting to me that the things you do today can influence how happy
Mhm.
you are in life. And it's do what makes you happy, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's also kind of a serious side to this that a lot of students do feel lonely and feel stressed and feel
Mhm.
like that they don't belong. They aren't equipped to go and make friends automatically at a college campus. And we all know uh, what can happen to a student who starts experiencing depression or loneliness in college. They find themselves, and I know people this has happened to, they find themselves never leaving their dorm room.
Well,
They
and
sleep all
Bobby,
day, right? And
yeah,
and
and to your
terrible things
point,
happen.
sorry to break in, but you made a
Yeah,
really
no,
good point here. And that is how long ago did most high school students have to make new friends? I mean,
right.
they in a lot of cases, they grew up with these kids. So,
Mhm.
it's not necessarily gonna be intuitive to walk on a college campus and all of a sudden you're like, "Woohoo, how do I meet these new
Right.
people?" So, yeah, it really does lend itself to that as well. I love you brought that up, especially right now, as we know,
Mhm.
where kids are sequestered in their dorm rooms and,
Right.
they don't have a lot of the opportunities that they've had in the past. But this year coming up, it looks
Mhm.
like that's gonna get put back into place.
Yeah, and so I think that's part of the thing is like if you just, if you start joining a couple of things that you're interested in, maybe you make friends from those organizations, but also like they're going to be looking for you to come to meetings and come to stuff. And so if you're, like that's one way that maybe you have a reason to leave the room, a reason to go out, and then you start making friends, and then suddenly you realize that it's not as scary as it looks, right? And that sort of thing. And
Right. Yeah, and I'd say especially for the kids that were freshmen in college this year, where you did kinda cocoon and you
mhm,
get in that
right.
rhythm, yeah, to really take advantage of that next year, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
and I think too, I mean, this is just all practical things for parents because if it's you've got your first kid going to school, you may not just have thought exactly about these things and that just, encouraging someone to join some organizations or something might help. But like, we've all known that another thing that can go with that other thing is like you have friends at other colleges that are 100 or 200 miles away or whatever. And so every weekend, because you don't have any friends here, you get in your car and you drive somewhere else, right? Just because you want that familiarity of the people you already knew, and so you go drive off and visit, your friends or your long distance boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, right? And so this is another thing that can get you engaged on campus, so that you're not tempted to drive home to your parents' house or drive somewhere else, right? Or just
Right,
whatever, or and so that's part of it, and so it is about a fulfilling life. It is about finding your own strengths and finding out what they are. And it's about just statistically that if you do this, you are likely to get higher grades and graduate on time and have a happier college experience and then have a happier, successful life after college. And that's what
that
this
was
is all about.
great. That is a great wrap up, and I'm gonna add one thing,
Yeah.
for parents right now to be involved in their kids' lives and to have
Mhm.
some meaningful conversations with them around this. I remember when my first one went to college, the only thing that my husband and I talked about was
Mhm.
how much fun we had in college. We're
Yeah.
like, "You're gonna love this. This is gonna be part of one of the best times of your life," but we failed to talk about the transition and
Mhm.
how it became fun, and a lot of that is what we're
Right.
talking about. It's getting involved.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Well, yeah, that's great stuff. And yeah, and of course, Christian and I love talking about things like this all the time. So feel free to contact either of us on our website. You can see it at the bottom. I'm BobbyHoodOnlineTutoring.com. There's a contact form on there. Always happy to just discuss these things. So we're really excited to always contact the people who watch and have questions about this stuff because that's what it's all about.
okay. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you. Have a good week.
It's not turning off. Yeah. Okay. I'll
It
snip
just
this
wants us to
later.
stay live all day.
It just keeps going.
That's funny.
Um, Bobby, I'm gonna go ahead and click out of Be Live.
All righty.
All right,
Have a
and I'll
great
keep
day.
this tape later, okay?
Okay.
All
Bye-bye.
right, bye.